All right, so we are going to get started here. So again, thank you all. My name is Jeremy Raff. I am the coordinator of College and Career Services at School District of Lancaster. So I'm really excited to be chatting with you guys today. So I just want to give a little overview before I pass it off to our presenters. So this is just a quick overview of SDOL's system of college and career support. So in elementary school, it's really focused on exposure, and then middle school on exploration, and then high school engagement. So kind of a bit more engagement in that way, getting them really connected with their classes, connected to what they're interested in for their careers. So in elementary school, which is kind of what we're framing this around, although certainly this information is applicable for everyone, we have a lot of kind of counselor-driven exposure for college and career readiness. And then we also have, we typically do 5th grade college tours. Certain schools will do adopt a kindergarten. So I see we have a parent from Wharton. Wharton is one of our schools that is a adopt a kindergarten partner. So we have kindergarten students who go to Thaddeus Stevens, and Ms. Wysock will speak about that a bit. And in typical years, we also partner with Junior Achievement on their BizTown program. All throughout the district, though, we have a college and career readiness curriculum called Future Ready Lancaster. So once a month, students do a college and career readiness lesson. And this really gets them thinking about developing their skills and thinking about their future, exploring different careers that are available and different options in the community. And we use a platform called Zello. So it looks something like this. It's something that all students can access. They have it on their iPads so they can complete it at home. They can do industry exploration. They can explore colleges. They can learn a bit about themselves through different assessments and complete lessons. It's a really cool platform. It's something that students can do just by going into ClassLink and doing it at home, but then they also do activities in the school day as well. So we know that paying for post-secondary education is a serious concern for parents and one of the most common ones. So recent research by Princeton Review finds that students and parents' biggest worry in the college process is debt. And despite this, 99% still believe that college is worth it. So we do know, though, that it is worth it, and there are some real, real benefits to college education. The data is really strong around that. For the majority of students, higher education is still a great pathway and a pathway that pays off. And there are a bunch of different ways to pay for post-secondary education. So the first is federal aid. Federal aid is accessed through applying through the FAFSA, which is gives you access to Pell Grants if you meet certain income guidelines, which can provide up to $5,500, $600, $6,000 in aid, and then as well as some loan options for students. Pennsylvania also provides aid as well. So between the two of those, typically you can get around $10,000, $13,000 between federal and state aid, depending on income that's available for you. And then there's college-based aid too. So one thing that's really important is you'll see some schools like Franklin and Marshall locally are very expensive, $60,000, $70,000. But some of those private expensive schools also provide a lot of scholarships. It's kind of a sticker price, but it's not really what people actually pay. So we find students from McCaskey that get accepted to Millersville and get accepted to Franklin and Marshall. Millersville will actually be more expensive for them on average because Franklin and Marshall provides so much great aid, even though the sticker price is so much more. And Thaddeus Stevens will talk a little bit about their aid programs here shortly too. We also have private scholarships, and I'm going to touch on that in a second. 529 plans, which we'll talk on a little bit later, and then some other loans. So one thing I want to note is we have a couple really awesome, unique programs just for School District of Lancaster students. So the first is the Lancaster Partnership Program. So if your student is interested in going to Millersville, they can earn up to $5,000 just by participating in the program. And this goes up to 5 years, so a maximum of $25,000. It's based on GPA in high school and maintaining a certain GPA in college. It's a great partnership. They also provide additional support for students while they're there. McCaskey, through the Lancaster Education Foundation, provides well over $70,000 a year in scholarships for students, which really makes a huge impact. And there's also a local organization that I'm actually a board member of called the MLK Junior Memorial Fund, and it provides over $170,000 a year in scholarships just to McCaskey students. And I will say last year we gave out scholarships to around 23 students out of only 40 applications. So if you apply, your chances of getting a scholarship, which start at $2,000, $3,000 and average about $5,000, are really high. And that's only for McCaskey students. And we also provide funding through a post-secondary transition fund through partners at Willow Valley to help students cover some of those costs to actually get to school. So paying those housing deposits, those enrollment deposits, getting those initial textbooks or supplies you may need. That's been a great partnership with Willow Valley to do that. So between all of these, we do have a lot of really unique options for students that can make post-secondary education really affordable and viable for them. So based on that, and I'll come back to my contact information later, I'm going to pass it off to Miss Megan Wysock, who's going to talk a little bit about the programs at Thaddeus-Stevens and kind of how Thaddeus-Stevens plays a part as a district partner. And I will say they are a very close, very great district partner, and talk about the options that they have there that are really unique for SDOL and can benefit your students.
Awesome. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. As Jeremy said, my name is Megan Wysock. I'm the Assistant Director of Admissions here at Thaddeus-Stevens College of Technology. And I also oversee our senior year option, which is our early enrollment program. So I have a lot of good info to share out this evening. Share out my screen. And Jeremy, is this something I can send to you as well?
Yep, definitely.
All right, perfect. So if you want to take notes, great. If not, you'll have it available in a little bit. So just to kind of give a little Stevens background first, I myself grew up in Lancaster, and I think a lot of times our local students see us and they recognize us, but they don't really know kind of the nitty-gritty details. And that kind of stemmed our partnership with School District of Lancaster to really implant Stevens as an option, an affordable option from an early age. So we're obviously located, right in the backyard, downtown Lancaster, 4 different locations, which you'll see there dropped on the pinpoint on the map. We have a 5th under construction. Super excited. We are growing. Our 5th location is going to be over near Costco off of Greenfield Road. We have 1,300 students, so we're relatively small. We are 50-50 resident versus commuters, so our local students do get that opportunity to live on campus and really get that full collegiate experience. We specialize in 2-year degrees, 1-year certificates, and short-term programs. So there really is kind of something for everyone. 24 different 2-year degrees, 1 certificate, and 2 short-term programs. You'll see here a full list of everything that we offer. If you're familiar with us for many years, we were Stevens Trade. We are now a College of Technology. We still have those trade programs, carpentry, plumbing, HVAC, but we definitely have grown since then. We have diesel, which is our newest addition, water environmental, electromechanical. So 24 programs in total for the 2-year options. We also have that 1-year certificate in electrical construction and maintenance, short-term programs in production welding and facilities maintenance, and those short-term programs are in duration of weeks. So we really have options for the students to meet their needs, what they're looking for, but also to meet the needs of our industry partners. All right, so let's get into the bulk and the reason why we're here this evening, and that's going to be the cost, the affordability, and what aid and partnerships do we provide our students. You're going to see the overall breakdown of cost here, our commuter and our resident option. Our tuition is going to be the same regardless of the program a student is studying, regardless if they're living on campus or not, and that's going to be about $8,400. I've been with the college for almost 10 years. This is my 10th year coming up, and the tuition really hasn't grown tremendously over those 10 years, which is something that I think everyone appreciates. It's stayed pretty much stagnant. You'll see the breakdown of a room cost, Meal plans are optional. If you're commuting, they are required if you're living on campus. So when I'm talking with students and families, I always say it's a range depending on what you've selected. Anywhere from $8,400 a year to upwards of 18 grand a year. And Jeremy said one of my favorite kind of phrases, which is sticker price. This is our sticker price. And when I'm talking with students, particularly high school students, I tell them not to get sticker shock, not only when they're looking at Stevens, but any college or university. The prices that you see on websites, on publications, anything that a college is sharing out, that's going to be our sticker price. There's not a single student on our campus who is paying the sticker price. It all kind of becomes more affordable and gets lower based off of financial aid. But essentially, it's kind of your starting point of cost. In terms of the aid that we offer, really your starting gate, and Jeremy said this already, is going to be your FAFSA. That's your free application for federal student aid. That's going to be your starting gate for aid anywhere. It's not just a Stevens thing. It's not just a Millersville thing. It is a college thing. You can actually list up to 10 different colleges on the FAFSA. Obviously, students are only going to end up going to one college or university. Nothing happens to the other 9. It's better to play it safe. And if you are considering a college or university, to put them on the FAFSA so that way they have your information. Stevens, I know we do a great job of supporting our students once they get to the high school level and they need to start thinking about the FAFSA. I know the high school does a great job of having their FAFSA completion workshops as well. So if you haven't sent a student to college before, if you yourself did not go to college before, and all kind of these acronyms in higher ed sound really confusing and daunting, you will be supported when you get to that high school level to kind of get that process started. We do have internal scholarships at Stevens. What we do is we do one scholarship application that students complete, and then they're in the pot of consideration for all of our scholarships. Our scholarships vary from merit-based, so based off of high GPAs, based off of the county, based off of the major. So that's why we have our students do one application, and then our financial aid office will go in and pair accordingly. And we obviously are going to accept any external scholarships. I really encourage students and families to do their research on scholarships. There are literally scholarships out there for anything and everything, for being left-handed, for being involved in your community. I usually encourage students to play to their strengths. If there's a student who enjoys writing, look for scholarships that involve short stories or essays. I always encourage students to work smarter and work harder. You are able to reuse essays for scholarships. Just make sure you're changing the correct information so you know who that scholarship is going to. Obviously, grants, we will take any grants, any FIA, any state grants. We have our Stevens grant, which I'll chat about on the next slide. But grants and scholarships are good. They are free monies. There is not a financial implication to pay those monies back once a student would leave an institution. We do list loans there as kind of a last option for students. We want our students to work that order of applying for federal aid, use that FAFSA, see if you're getting any state aid, apply for scholarships. Maybe you're getting a grant, maybe you're not, but loans would kind of be that last step in the process. If you have a chunk of money that you can't just write a check out of pocket to a college to cover that cost, well, what can you do? You can take out that loan, but then it's important to keep in mind that there is that financial implication and those monies would have to be paid back. Our Stevens grant, it's one of our largest financial aid opportunities. It's easily my favorite thing about working at the college. It comes from FAFSA information. And that's why we as a college stress the FAFSA. We want our students to complete the FAFSA. For students who are Pell Grant eligible, they are Stevens grant eligible. There's no gray area. Any student who is applying for the FAFSA is essentially seeing if they qualify for the Stevens grant. The Stevens grant can completely cover the entire cost of attendance or drastically reduce that cost of attendance. And it's going to be based off a family's EFC, which is expected family contribution. And that information comes from your FAFSA. I know students who pay $50 a semester to come to Stevens. So in other words, they're paying $200 for their entire degree. It's an absolutely amazing opportunity to have very little, if any, out-of-pocket cost. You're going to be in demand. Our students get amazing careers. They're starting out making amazing wages. A really huge advantage to this as well is the cost of textbooks and tools. If you're receiving the Stevens grant, we take care of that. So we will order those, we will pay for them, you'll be notified when they're ready. Typically, they're actually just available for students the first day of class to pick up. So whether that's a full grant or a partial grant, any Stevens grant student will always get the cost of textbooks and tools covered. Over half of our student body attends on the Stevens grant. We do not have a limit. We always look to increase our Stevens grant students, but really the starting gate and the starting point for this is the FAFSA. In terms of our district partnerships, we really do cover K through 12. So we have our awesome Adopt a Kindergarten program. I love participating with that every year. We have our adorable kindergartners come to campus, they're touring, we interact with them, we take them around, we have our faculty interact, our faculty goes into the classrooms. Obviously, I'm talking in a non-COVID world here this evening with these different experiences, but really kind of planting that seed early for our youngest students. We host kindergarten graduation as well, and our president typically has always done an amazing job of letting them know like the key to their future, the key to Stevens, and just really making that connection for young students that there is an awesome opportunity in their backyard. We obviously continue to do college visits really from, I would say, a middle elementary age, obviously up to our high school students, but planting that seed once again. We really want to get them kind of in that middle school age before kind of any stereotypes about careers hits. And we want to expose them just to these amazing opportunities once again. And I know one of my more rewarding things, I think it was last year, and Jeremy can correct me if I'm wrong, we actually had students for the first time who participated in our Adopt a Kindergarten program who were there with us again for our middle school age visits, and they were on campus and they were remembering it. And I just thought that was a really awesome, rewarding experience that we're kind of seeing that cycle of things happen. We have college in the high school for our high school students, and this is an opportunity to take college level courses at the high school taught by McCaskey teachers. We have early enrollment, which is a full senior year option. So essentially senior year of high school is the freshman year of college. They are one and the same. And one of our newest partnerships is our January 1st initiative for our seniors. We have given essentially preferential enrollment to our McCaskey seniors if they apply, complete our process, have at least a 3.0 GPA, and all of that is done by January 1st. They are guaranteed an offer of admissions to Thaddeus Stevens. So in terms of the different options and the benefits for college and the high school courses, these are those college courses taught at the high school. There is currently no cost for those students. It's a great opportunity for them to get college level classes. They're able to kind of add to that transcript. Do they have to go to Stevens? They don't. We'd love to see them continue with us. But if they want to go to Millersville or Temple, that is still a college level class. You know, essentially they have that feather in their cap that they're able to transfer that credit on, and it's at no cost. Taught in the high school, so it's a little bit more of a comfortable setting for students. It's a familiar setting. We have our early enrollment program, which is a full immersive college experience. All the classes on our campus, they wouldn't actually come to McCaskey at any point during the day. The only district of our partner districts for early enrollment that covers the cost is School District of Lancaster. So that first year for early enrollment students, there is no cost for SDOL students, and that would include textbooks and tools. That first time freshman initiative, that January 1st kind of preferential treatment, there's still that affordable tuition. They're able to receive the Stevens grant. So there still definitely is a benefit to that January 1st initiative. I really think we have an awesome return on investment. We have a 96% job placement rate in the field. So if a student is majoring in automotive, they're working in that industry. It trickles down to about 6 job offers per grad. Some clusters, manufacturing cluster, carpentry cluster, it's even greater than that, 12, 15 job offers per grad. The average starting salary for a Stevens student is about $43,500, with some students making well above that. I shared that over half of our student body does attend on the Stevens grant. It's actually 54% of our student body attends on that Stevens grant at very little, if any, out-of-pocket cost. For our students who do have student loan debt, it is a manageable amount of debt. This is one thing I'm always trying to get across to the seniors that I'm talking to, because I was a high school senior not that long ago. And I remember hearing student loan debt, and I was like, okay, whatever, and just brushed it off because it didn't affect me now in real time. Then I always share with them, I kind of got a reality check when I graduated from a four-year college. And then 6 months after that, I started to have to pay my loans. And I was like, oh, that's what taking a loan out means. I have to pay this chunk of money back every single month. Our students, if they have any debt, it's less than $10,000. So they are not working to pay off that debt like a lot of college grads are. There are obviously additional benefits to being a Stevens student, and all of these resources and benefits are completely free. So we have our library resources, computer lab, printing, faxing, copier access, our amazing tutoring. We have professional tutors, we have student tutors, we have our academic center, which is there for different resources and tutoring as well. We have our MAC, which is our multi-purpose activity center. We have an amazing weight room, indoor track, the gym, racquetball courts, and any of our sporting events are going to be free to our Stevens students. And that would also include really any student who has a photo ID. So our early enrollment students are definitely included in that as well. We have a lot of resources for our younger students, and this is one question that we get asked a lot. Well, when is kind of too early to consider visiting or consider coming to campus? Right now, everything that we're doing for the spring is virtual. So in my opinion, this is a perfect opportunity for our younger students to kind of check us out. We have a self-guided virtual tour on our website, and it's Google Earth. So I'm sure young students have played around with Google Earth. You're able to kind of check out all of the programs and the residence halls. So it's a great way for them to see a local opportunity right in their backyard, and they're able to do it on their own time. We have My Future Career as well. What I like about this resource is it's putting careers front and center. So a lot of times when we're working with with younger students, we kind of use that college terminology, residence halls, commuters, just different words and different kind of descriptions of college life that they're not familiar with. What I love about My Future Career is they're highlighting careers and putting that front and center. It's sparking that interest. And I never really thought about someone who's artistic, a graphic designer. This is what a graphic designer does. So they're really short videos, about 2 to 3 minutes long, highlighting one of our grads working out in their career and just learning a little bit more about what they like about that particular career and their life. It's really well done. It looks like a little interactive city. I have links embedded here into the presentation. So when it's shared out, you'll be able to check that out. And I also like that it's videos and not as text heavy. We have a new series as well. It's called Mornings with Megan. It's a short segmented series with me where I'm interviewing different key offices on campus. We just released our first installment, which is all about careers. We have one coming up on admissions, on financial aid, on academics, and then we're wrapping up the year with our new president, President Rivera. He'll be doing kind of our last Mornings with Megan for the spring, but those are targeted for our parents. So it asks a lot of questions that we get asked, and it's a great way to get contact information. It's also a video, not kind of scrolling through a bunch of text. So I think that these are just awesome opportunities for our younger students and families of younger students to kind of get to know us a little bit better and feel prepared. This is my contact information as well. I welcome any questions from students and parents of students any age. That's why we're here as a resource. As Jeremy said, we have an amazing partnership with the School District of Lancaster. I value that partnership. So I'm always welcome to answer any questions. Feel free, shoot me an email there. I'm not sure if Jeremy, if there are any questions at this point, if you'd like to do those at this point, if we wanted to kind of hold off to the end. I'm not sure the best way to do that, but essentially that's all my content. So I thank you all so much for listening.
Great. And I would say, yeah, if you have any questions, throw those in the chat now, or we'll do that kind of towards the end here. Two things I want to note before we move on to our Department of Treasury partners. So one thing, certainly, this is just one example of a college, but I hope one thing you can take away as a parent is that, right here in the backyard, there's an affordable option that where paying for post-secondary education is feasible and is possible. So, even the on-campus costs for that at full price is far below, what things are for kind of a typical school. And one thing that we didn't mention in that as well is there's some unique benefits that students have. So for those of you that have elementary school students who participate in the Adopt a Kindergarten program, you're actually able through when you do Adopt a Kindergarten, you get a student ID. And you can actually use that to access the library at Thaddeus Stevens, to access sporting events for free. I'm going to share out some resources for that that are really beneficial. We have a question here. Do you accept the GI Bill or VA benefits?
Yeah, absolutely. We do. We participate with all post 9/11 GI Bill. I'll put in our chat our VA representative, which is our director of financial aid, Emily Smoker, but absolutely we do.
So just, right here in Lancaster, we've got, between Thaddeus Stevens and then I mentioned Millersville has a specific scholarship for McCaskey students. Those are two options certainly that help pay for post-secondary education. And Megan mentioned as well dual enrollment. We are the only school in the county that will cover the cost of students to take college classes. They can take college classes at Thaddeus Stevens, Millersville, Harrisburg University, Harrisburg Area Community College, Eastern Mennonite University, Elizabethtown College, and I'm probably blanking on one. But we really, it's a lot of options, for students to, can start earning those before they graduate high school. We have some students right now I know who've earned 15, 18 credits an entire semester of college classes before they've even graduated. So with that, I'm going to pass it off to Karen Carr, who is our representative from Pennsylvania Department of Treasury, who's going to talk a bit about the PA 529 plan and college savings accounts.
Thank you so much. I'm going to share my screen here if I can. Let's make sure I can do that for you. And I hope you can see that okay. Great, thanks. So thank you. Thank you everyone for inviting me. My name is Karen Carr, and as you can see from my picture here, I'm a field rep at the Pennsylvania State Treasury. This is a picture where I was at a Keystone Scholars program, and I'll tell you more about that at the end. But today I'm going to talk more, tell you about our PA 529, and then a little bit about Keystone Scholars and PA ABLE. I believe that, Jeremy, you mentioned the 529 is one of the ways that this could be helpful for people. I want to start by talking about how we all know how education is the thing that gives you power to improve your life. And I'm really, really happy to see, Megan, how Thaddeus Stevens is handling that, and Jeremy, how you're really, in your district, helping people understand how important that is. At the Treasury, we feel that very, very much so. And we find that in working with people with the 529 plans, this is something that is very powerful, very helpful. The other thing, and I want to refer also back to Megan and Jeremy on this, if you'll note from my slide here, the cost of education, you can see Thaddeus Stevens, thank you so much for keeping those costs low, because if you'll look at what the cost of education is right now, 2020 and 2021, you can see that the average community college, this is annual, is about $4,194. So if you double that, you're looking at your tuition. Am I right, Megan, on that? At Thaddeus Stevens. And then you'll also see that the state schools, and I guess that would include schools such as Millersville and so forth, your costs are really starting to rise over time. Per year, this is just tuition. It doesn't include room and board. So you can look at how those things really change. And then 10 years from now, let's say you have a young child. I know that we have some people in the audience who have older children, but I think someone said they have someone in sixth grade or there. You're looking at maybe 10 years from now before they, 5 to 10 years from now before they go to school. And here are the projected costs for those. And then 20 years from now, if you have a very young child. So you can see that, it's very important to go after those grants and free money if you can get it. Go after the scholarships as much as possible, because if you want to give your child that education that everybody feels is important, 99% of parents feel that, right? Then you're going to want to definitely find ways to help pay for these things. When children know that they have some sum of money put away for their future, they do better in school. They know that our wishes for them are that they continue and that we have a dream for them. They have a dream then too. And they have that higher expectation of continuing their education after 12th grade. Research has definitely shown this. And I'm going to talk about the 529 plans. That's why I'm here tonight, to tell you more about these plans. I'm going to tell you by telling you about our Pennsylvania 529 plan. They will share a lot of the same thing that any 529 plans will do for you, but we have some specific things in Pennsylvania that are important to note. In Pennsylvania, there are tax advantages. You're going to be able to, anytime you contribute or you save money in a 529 in Pennsylvania, you're going to be able to take that contribution amount and deduct it off your Pennsylvania state taxes every year. And anybody else who lives in Pennsylvania and they put their money into your, they contribute to your savings in a 529, they too can take that money deducted off their Pennsylvania state taxes. I love that feature. I take advantage of it in my own 529. The other thing I love about these plans, these 529 plans, and this is for any 529, and this is why they exist, you're going to be able to defer any taxes when you have the money in these accounts. And then you're going to be able to take that money that you've earned and use it tax-free when you use it for educationally qualified expenses such as tuition, room and board, computers and computer-related expenses, books, tools, all of those things. If you've saved your money in a 529 and you take it out, you won't pay any earnings on the earnings that you've made back to the federal government. Also, another thing about the Pennsylvania 529, this can be used in Pennsylvania or out of state. It doesn't matter. It includes many career schools such as Thaddeus Stevens and more. There's also no contribution or income restrictions. You can put in as much or as little as you want. I have $15 going in every 2 weeks. That's pretty little, but it does add up. It really adds up over time. And I actually have 2 accounts I will tell you about in a little bit. So I have money coming out of a paycheck at $15, and then I have money coming out of an ACH at about $20 every 2 weeks.
One quick question here.
Yes.
Question was, is that $15,000 per year per taxpayer, or is that $15,000 total per taxpayer?
Oh, yes. I'm sorry. I kind of glossed over that. So that's a great question. It's $15,000 per taxpayer per beneficiary. So the way that adds up, and people will take advantage of this, if there are a husband and wife and they're both working, they can contribute, each of them, $15,000 per child. So $30,000. If they have 2 children, they could put in $60,000. If they have 3 children, it's $90,000. And you can put in more than that. You can contribute more than that, but that's what you can take off of your Pennsylvania state taxes. You can deduct that from there. This is money back in your pocket, really. And the same with the federal taxes and the savings on that. That's really just money back in your children's pockets for school. Great question. So when
Is
we're
that limited just, I'm sorry, is that limited just to the PA 529 or is that any 529 for the state tax deduction?
the PA state tax deduction, this is in Pennsylvania. Now we do have some tax parity, so other states may allow that, but you would have to check with your state to see if you can do that. This is in Pennsylvania with a PA state, with a PA 529. Where was I? So there are no income restrictions. You can put as much or as little in there as you like. And only 529 savings are not counted on that important FIA application. You see FIA down there, that's PA. That's the Pennsylvania financial aid application will come from there. So you're not going to count that on, it's not going to be counted if you have a Pennsylvania 529. Other out-of-state 529 plans will count against your FIA aid. So you want to keep that in mind. You want to get that grant money and you want to be able to take advantage of that. If you do report on the FAFSA though, that would have to be reportable on your 529, any holdings you have on that, but it's a very low amount that gets reported. There are also these reward programs that you see here that you can take advantage of. And I really encourage people to take advantage of the You Promise and the Sage Scholars tuition rewards. If you sign up for a 529, you will see those options noted on there. And you can read about those and see more, but they're absolutely free and they really help you. Let me move on in the interest of time and talk about our two plans. We have the guaranteed savings plan and we have an investment plan. The guaranteed savings plan, it's only $10 to open it. It doesn't cost anything to enroll, but you'll want to put at least $10 in. This is really a savings that's helping you keep pace with that graph I showed you earlier with the way that tuition keeps going up over time. We have very low fees and we manage the investments for this. This is more than 130% funded. As you see, it's a wonderful plan, but this isn't based on the financial markets. This plan is based on tuition inflation. It's keeping pace with the way school tuition goes up over time. And it's not just tuition that goes up over time. It's room and board, it's books, everything keeps going up. Then we have our investment plan, and we're so proud of both of these plans. This offers 17 investment options from the Vanguard Group, including 3 age-based ones. Age-based are ones that I call set it and forget it. You put your money in, your contributions in, and then every 2 years, as your child gets closer to the time they go off to school, that becomes more principal protected and less risky so that, you're not going to lose anything before they head off to school, which I did have happen when I didn't have a 529 for my eldest son. So I can truly relate to this. This is a very, very nice plan to have. It's a $10 minimum to open this as well. No fee for enrollment though, and very, very low fees on this. We just got our silver medal, which from Morningstar, right? We're a silver medalist. This is makes us one of the best plans in the country. And we've worked hard to make this happen, but it is a very, very good plan. You can rest assured that we have a great plan here for Pennsylvania residents. And anybody can, if you're a New Jersey resident or a Delaware resident, you can have our investment plan, but you have to be a PA resident to do our guaranteed savings plan. So let's move on and talk about what you can use your 529 savings for, savings and investments. You can use them towards tuition. I mentioned this earlier, your mandatory fees, and those fees do keep creeping up at schools. You can use them for room and board and required books, supplies, equipment, including the computers and computer-related expenses. Also, any special needs that someone might have, if they need tutoring or reading help or whatever. The newest parts of our plan include that you can use your 529 to pay for private school tuition or public school tuition up to $10,000 per year. And, that is something that many people are starting to take advantage of. Also, certain expenses for registered and certified apprenticeship programs can now be qualified expenses to be taken out and used for those. And then the newest one, which I've also taken advantage of myself because I have 2 grown sons that have already graduated from college. We did repay the principal and interest on one of the qualified loans that my son had. And there is a lifetime limit of $10,000 on that. So not having to pay interest on a loan is really a wonderful thing. And being able to use your savings or put money into savings to pay that is another wonderful thing to have. I'm really glad that happened. It's easy to enroll in the savings programs. You can open the account right online, which is fantastic. You don't have to use paper, but we can send a paper enrollment form if you need one. It's a $10 minimum to open it, right? And the most you can put in there is $511,758. Why that weird amount? Because that is what it cost to go to the University of Pennsylvania and the Wharton School for 2 years. So that's what it cost then. I think it actually costs more now if I looked it up. And so who knows, maybe we'll raise our maximum one day. That's a lot of money. So, you want to start saving if you can. I know it's hard to think about that, but it is important. And you can put in any amount of at least $10 at any time. I told you I put in 15. You can have it come directly from your payroll or right from a bank. You can put it on a regular basis or just once in a while and have those families help. There's a U-Gift code that you can send to people. And through that code, they can set up an account themselves to send money to your account as gifts. And it makes a wonderful gift. To maintain your account over time, remember in the guaranteed plan, that's going to be college tuition inflation, not the markets. So you're going to do this by choosing a tuition level. And if you need help with this, we have people Monday through Friday who can help you understand this better, or you can attend one of our webinars to understand how this works. The investment plan grows with the financial markets. And if you need help with that, we're there to help you with that as well. We just can't give investment advice, but we can tell you about what the portfolios are and what the plans have in their underlying funds. You can use the account for education expenses. And guess what? You're going to be the account owner. And I really like this as well. Whoever sets up the account is the owner, not the children or the beneficiaries, right? So you're going to decide how that money gets allocated and what it's used for. And you're going to also be able to put it back in, if you need to put it between children, say one child is going to go to a school that's more expensive and the other is not, you can move money back and forth between those children. You're also going to decide how that gets allocated. So those are important things to note about these. Also see here that if you save as little as $25 per month for 18 years, you could have more than $10,000 by the time the child turns 18. So your savings really, really add up. These accounts help you grow those monies. I hope that's been helpful. I want to just highlight, if I could, I hope we're not going over in time. How are we for time?
Oh, you're good.
Great. I want to talk about a couple of incentives, the Keystone Scholars and the PA Savings Pledge. Keystone Scholars was started so that people start thinking about saving much earlier I know that for me, I heard about the 529 when my children were maybe in kindergarten or first grade, but it was like cotton was in my ears because I was thinking about all the day-to-day things that had to happen. I really didn't think about, I wasn't really giving the 529. It was just seemed like something else I had to do. And I wish I had done that then and just put aside all those other day-to-day things for a few minutes and sign up for one of these plans, because it would have made life easier when my kids got into college and had to then take up some school loans and then pay them back afterwards. So, the 529 offers you all those things, but this $100 starter is for people to really get started with that. And here's how it works. The state of Pennsylvania has put this money into every child's name that is born 2019 and forward. They automatically qualify at birth, and parents can go online and view their child's balance. It's going to grow for 18 years. That $100 starter deposit is going to grow for 18 years. And whatever we do with the investments with that will be what they'll be able to take out. As long as they have a 529 with the state of Pennsylvania, they'll be able to take that out. And they can use it for books or any qualified educational expense that I mentioned before. Here is where the parents would register. And as I said, it's 2019 and forward, all babies are born. They can register at pa529.com/keystone, and they can find out more information about this. If you know someone who's having a baby or who just had a baby, please tell them to come and get their money and sign up for their account. Here's how they would register online. It can be the expecting parents or new parents can do this. And then approximately 4 months after, 4 to 6 months actually, after that child is born, we'll get a notification from the health department with a code that we're going to send you. And that's the code that would be put in here for the actual registration, where you'll be able to link this with any 529 that you have. Or if you don't want to do your 529 down the road, you could always do it down the road. You'll be able to watch this account grow. We also have the PA Savings Pledge, and I love this too. We have a partnership with Fund My Future, and I encourage people to go to our website and look on our scrolling thing that we have, or search. I'll give you the link for this as well, that you can find the PA Savings Pledge and Fund My Future on that. And this is a way that you could potentially earn money just by taking a pledge and keeping money saved in an account. Here's what will happen if you sign up to take the pledge. You're going to get emails, texts, and voicemails to remind you to open your savings account and save. And it doesn't have to be in a 529. It could be in a credit union or a bank. And the account has to be in a child's name. So you as a 529 owner, it would be in your name, but you would have that child as your beneficiary. So that qualifies. There's a monthly raffle with more than $5,000 up for grabs. So you could be a $1,000 winner, or you could be a $50 gift card winner. But as long as you're getting this raffle every month, you're qualifying. And as long as you're keeping the deposit, making a deposit and no withdrawals, you're going to qualify and you can claim this prize if you win it. And I hope you do. This is where you're going to find out more information. And this is where you're going to take that pledge. Don't pass up an opportunity to win $1,000 if you can. I want to go over one more plan, and that is PA Able. I don't know if anybody has heard of this or knows anyone with a disability. This is for people with disabilities to be able to save, but to keep their important government benefits. Anyone you know who may have a disability, autism, or anything, any physical disability that will qualify, it's a tax-free way to save, just like the 529, for their disability-related expenses, and keep those important government benefits that they need. Medicaid, SSI, SSDI. if you wish to know more about that, please go to the, I don't have that on here, the PA-ABLE. It's paable.gov. I think it's on my final slide here. That's our disclosure statement. And here we go. There's where you'll find all the information. And I can share the slides with you, Jeremy, if anybody is interested. All right.
Great.
Sure.
Thank you. I'm going to stop the recording now.